Hi, it's Jamin. As your agent, it's important for me that you understand all aspects of the Medicare system. So today we're going to talk about the Part D Medicare Prescription Drug Program. So let's get started. So there's two ways that you can get a prescription drug plan under Medicare. The first is a standalone plan, and the second is under the Part C Medicare Advantage system. So check out the Part C video on Medicare Advantage plans. So the key thing on the prescription plans is they are offered by private companies. The federal government regulates the plans that private companies can offer, but the government does not offer the plan as it does under original Part A and Part B. So that means we talk about that in your individual appointment about what prescription plan will best fit your individual prescriptions. So the government, though, when they designed the plan system that all the private plans have to work under, they didn't make it really very easy. So while you're used to a plan maybe paying a certain copay all year long, Medicare prescription drug plans don't really act under that kind of easy system. No, they divide the coverage up into different phases. So there's 4 phases. First one is the annual deductible. The second is the initial coverage phase. The third is what you've probably heard is the donut hole. It's called the coverage gap phase. And then the fourth is the catastrophic coverage phase. So let's go through each of these and how you move through them. So the very first one is the annual deductible. So it's just a dollar amount that's set that you have to pay out of your pocket first before you move into initial coverage phase. The good news is not all tiered drugs have to go through the deductible. So what do I mean by that? Well, when you get a prescription drug plan, all the drugs are assigned a tier level. So there's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and so on. So the first couple of tiers, tier 1 and 2, are your generic drugs. Obviously, what that means is they're less expensive, so you're going to have less out-of-pocket costs for those. Then your preferred drugs, like your brand name drugs, and then your specialty drugs, you're going to pay more for that. So when you're in the annual deductible phase, that first phase, the tier 1 and tier 2 many times are exempted from the deductible, which means you'll go right in and pay a copay of maybe $2, $5, sometimes it's $0. You don't have to meet the deductible in order to get the benefit. Now, for brand name drugs, tier 3 and above, you're most likely going to have to pay that deductible first. So the deductible can be several $100s. The max is set by the government, but it can be pretty hefty. So let's just say you've met that deductible phase because you have some higher drugs and you go into the initial coverage phase. That's going to be something that you're more familiar with, like the copays and the coinsurance levels. And again, those are divided by tiers. Now you're going to live in that phase for a while. You're going to get really comfortable with that phase because you're going to enjoy the copays. But when your out-of-pocket costs reach a certain level, which is $4,020, and when I say your out-of-pocket costs, I really mean the out-of-pocket costs how the federal government defines it, which means your costs plus what the plan pays. Once you hit that $4,000 mark, then you're going to move into the donut hole. The donut hole is where you're just going to pay a little bit more. And you're going to live in there for a little while until the costs get up to the $6,350. Again, it's calculated differently, but it's not just your costs that are factored in. Once you hit that level, you go into what's called the catastrophic phase. And then that's where your copays and your coinsurance go very, very low. And so it's just a recognition that you've paid a lot. And so the way the government designed the plan, if you hit that catastrophic coverage phase, you're going to get a lot of relief. So it's a protection that's built into the system. So those are the different coverage phases. What's really important to remember, though, is if you don't take specialty drugs or have brand name drugs that are really, really expensive, you're probably not ever going to leave that initial coverage phase, which is the one we're familiar with where it's just copays. So it really just depends upon your specific experience. Now, we'll get into all of that when we have our individual appointment to talk about what's going to fit your specific needs. Now, you're always going to be able to switch every year depending upon if your drug changes or your drug plan changes between the months of October 15th and December 7th. That's the annual election period, which is going to give us a chance to talk some more to see if we need to make a switch. So that wraps up our video on Part D, the prescription drug program for Medicare. Be on the lookout for our next video. And again, if you have any questions on Part D, just give me a call or email me and we'll talk it through. See you soon.